we go. Mr. Mayhem, touch the tripod.
No, it's 10.
Is it episode 10?
Yeah.
I think it's episode 9.
No, it's episode 10.
Goose thinks it's episode 10. I think it's episode 9. Real Life Cooking with the Danos. We're coming to you a little earlier today because, well, you'll still see this at the same time. We're doing this earlier than usual because today we're putting dinner in the crock pot, which is one of my favorite things to do because it is like magic. It is the easiest thing. You just dump everything in and then let it hang out all day. If it's a normal work day, you leave, you come home, dinner's made. If you're not using the crock pot often, you're doing it wrong. I'm telling you, we love a crock pot. So for today, in the crock pot, we are making homemade spaghetti sauce. So I have all of my ingredients prepped and ready to go, but what's different is I have them in Ziploc bags. You could do a Ziploc bag or Tupperware if you don't want to be wasting bags. But what I do typically when I do a crock pot meal is I prep everything the night before. So like I browned hamburger and sausage. I did that the night before, threw it in a Tupperware or a Ziploc bag, chopped up my green onions, everything that you kind of have to prep other than just opening a can. I do it the night before so that when I wake up, it's all ready to go. The other thing that I do is for everything that doesn't need to be in the fridge, like the vegetables and the meat, I have it set out on the counter. I have the crock pot already out and on the counter. So in the morning, it's like minimal work. It's really just dump everything in and go about it. And while I'm cooking dinner the night before, it's easy to prep a couple extra things. So easy peasy. So homemade spaghetti sauce in the crock pot. Can your brother sit with you? No, okay. Homemade spaghetti sauce in the crock pot. Here we go. We'll see if the man will let us do this. So what I have here is actually 2 pounds of ground beef and 1 pound of mild Italian sausage. The recipe says 1 pound of ground beef, but my husband is a bit of a carnivore, so we just make it kind of extra meaty in our house. And you just brown it all up together and then store it in a Tupperware overnight or whatever. You can do it in the morning if you want to do it that way. I have 1 green pepper that is chopped up and ready to go, 1 onion, and then again, more than what the recipe says as far as garlic is concerned, so just some chopped up garlic. That's it there. Next I have a can of tomato sauce. My can is 15 ounces. The recipe asks for 8 ounces, but that's what the grocery shopper gave me. And then I have a 15-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, but the recipe again calls for 28. So it's not exactly what the recipe said, but like I said, we're making it work because that's what the grocery store gave me. Oops, sorry, Missy. I'm looking for a spatula so I can.
My butt.
Oh, sorry about your tush. Get out the tomato paste. Goose, you got it? We're gonna get this done while holding a baby. The show is called Real Life Cooking for a reason. Huh, Goose Girl? Goose is really excited to show you all her straw that has her name on it. Her Auntie Kara bought that for her. Okay, so next went in a can of tomato paste. 6 ounces is what they are. It's, you know, the normal tiny size that those come in. It asks for chicken broth beef broth. And I just kind of like to eyeball that. You don't really want it to be soupy, but you kind of want to cover the ingredients. So I'd say I probably do about a carton of beef broth. Next, it asks for 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. You don't need to be so specific here. Just give it a few shakes. You're good to go. And salt and pepper. The last thing that you need is brown sugar. And it might seem a little bit funny to add the brown sugar, but I'm telling you, you need that. If you don't add the brown sugar, the tomatoes end up tasting a little bit tinny. They kind of like the can, and adding just a tiny bit of brown sugar makes it perfect. So I have 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. That's it, just a tiny bit for the whole thing. So go for it, sister. So we are just gonna give this a stir and put it on low. And I'm gonna let it go all day. So whatever all day means for you, something like 8 to 10 hours. 8 would probably be fine. Everything's cooked, I mean, besides the vegetables, so it'll be ready to go fairly quickly as far as a crock pot meal is concerned. Nothing needs to, you don't have any chicken breast to cook or anything like that. But the longer you can let it rock, the tastier it will be. So we're gonna get this bad boy going on low heat all day long, and at the end of the day, we'll show you how it turns out. Just want to give you a little progress report, show you what we're working with here in the crock pot. Doesn't that look delicious? Look at all that. It's very meaty. Almost ready to go. All right, there's our final result. Look at that. I mean, really, there's nothing to do at the end besides plate it. So I didn't even waste your time having to watch me. Look at it, it's steaming hot. Look at how delicious that is. Throw it over some noodles, whichever noodles you choose, right? And if you want to get crazy, just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loves it. Buddy, what do we think? So good, right? So good. That's right. Thanks for tuning in.